Challenging past few months with different issues among our youth. Well, the Park City School District is taking a proactive approach to address these issues head on, and I am thrilled to be joined by Molly Miller from the Park City School District, as well as Fatima Doman, a fantastic author that is actually local to Park City. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So I want to talk about, Molly, just briefly, why you brought in Fatima and her work.
So as most Park City residents know, we had an awful tragedy earlier this year, actually the beginning of the school year, where we lost two of our young boys. And we found out later through a very thorough Park City Police investigation that it was related to pink, which is a synthetic drug which contained opioids. So that was just a really traumatic experience for our community. We really wanted to move forward in a way that was proactive to inform our community and arm them with things for parents and students to educate themselves about ways and resources to utilize so that they don't turn to using drugs in the first place. And that's where Fatima comes in. She's hosting a professional development couple of days for all of our staff to educate them so they can help educate our students, and this is for a community-wide event.
Well, what I think is so fantastic is, you know, obviously when you have an issue with drug abuse among youth, it's easy just to go straight to the tangible drugs and the sort of legal side of it. But what you're really doing is pulling it back a step further and saying, why were these students making the choice in the first place
exactly.
to use these as a coping mechanism?
Exactly.
And Fatima, your book is really based, I want to hold it up for everybody, Authentic Strengths. And this is really coping mechanisms, playing to your strength and really utilizing your optimal performance at a corporate level right down to students.
Right. Anybody can read this, really. There are a lot of stories that are engaging and, you know, that people can relate to. And it's rooted in the science of positive psychology. So there are over 300 research studies that show that this really works.
That's fantastic. And this has been used in various countries, Fortune 500 companies. You've worked with some of the sort of leaders and pinnacles of industry around the world, and now you're making it accessible to Park City students.
Right, right. And so there are some truisms that I think, you know, like I said earlier, anyone can learn from, even little children. So we're going to take this throughout the entire school district. We're going to take it to grades K through 12. And
it's never too young to start looking at your strengths, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. We actually have a children's book that's coming out next quarter. It's called True You, Authentic Strengths for Kids, so for the younger kids. But of course the teenagers at Park City School District can read this book.
That's fantastic. So again, this is playing to your strengths, but really the reason that we sort of made this collaboration was to help students deal with the pressures and the stress that are affecting so many young people today, specifically these sort of pre-adults that are about to venture off into the, you know, quote, real world. What are some of the tools and things that you're going to be talking about with these high school kids?
Well, the main thing is to focus on what's strong in yourself rather than what's wrong. So human beings kind of have this tendency to look at their flaws and to fall into the pitfall of perfectionism. And we always compare ourselves. We tend to compare ourselves with others. And I have a chapter in the book called Comparanoia. And teenagers, especially junior high teenagers, tend to compare themselves a lot with their peers. Mm-hmm. And the fact is that someone will always have something a little more in our perception than we do. So what we need to learn is to be very satisfied and happy with our own life. And that's why Authentic Strengths helps teens to focus on what's strong in themselves. They take a free strengths assessment and they find out their 24 character strengths. And in that list of 24, they look at the top 5 because those are the ones that we call the top strengths or the signature strengths. Those are the ones that give us energy and passion in life. They learn to connect to those and use those on a daily basis.
And we've talked a lot about the power of I am on this show, and so many people, that self-fulfilling prophecy, but unfortunately a lot of times when you do the I am this, I am that, it's not a positive. You know, people are focusing more on the negative. So you're really trying to help kids build their self-esteem and then in turn make better choices.
That's right. So the strengths are things like kindness, perseverance, leadership, teamwork, optimism. So just think if you said to yourself in the morning, I am optimistic, or I am courageous. By the way, those are some of the top strengths that correlate to resilience. And that's what we're going to be teaching these teens, is
It's
how to be
amazing
more
the power
resilient.
of those words sometimes. Now, to
Yeah.
kick it off, there's a Lunch and Learn series.
Exactly, tomorrow from 12 to 1 at the district office, that's 2700 Kearns Boulevard. We are having the incredible Lisa May from R&R Partners in Salt Lake City. She is the spearhead and brand supervisor for, I'm sure you've seen them on TV, the Opioid Fails commercial, Don't Add Addiction to Injury. It just resonates here in Park City. There's so many skiing injuries and
Yes.
so on. Opioid prescriptions can so easily turn into addiction.
Without people even thinking about it.
Exactly. So she's here to educate us about alternatives and just really what went into that campaign. She sits on a number of committees. She's a super dynamic speaker. We're so pleased and honored to have her in partnership with Valley Behavioral Health. Tomorrow, district office, 12 to 1. Bring your lunch. Everyone's welcome. It's always entertaining. It's always engaging. Arrive early. Last time it was a full house and people were standing out in the hall.
Good for
so
you.
Get a good seat
for
and join us.
And Fatima, if people want to learn more about the philosophy and learn more about your book, you have a website.
We do, AuthenticStrengths.com. Go to the website, scroll down the landing page to the orange bar. It says take the free strength survey. I want to invite everyone to take their survey, find out their unique strengths profile, and start to focus on what's strong instead of what's wrong.
I love that, and what a great way to model that for your children as well. All right, Molly,
Absolutely.
Fatima, thank you so much as a community member and as a parent for all of the wonderful things you're doing to help our kids in this community. It's fantastic. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Mountain Morning Show, and we will be back with much more right after this.